If you spent any time in the Filipino martial arts, you've done triangle stepping exercises. And I'm here to tell you, you're probably doing them wrong. Now, some of you are probably taking offense to that idea, and especially those of you who've put in a lot of time doing triangle stepping footwork. So let me explain. Do a quick search for videos, and here's what you're going to see. A lot of this static, dead pattern stepping, where you're just going from point to point to point, and this has absolutely no connection to sparring or fighting or using this in any sort of fashion. The fact of the matter is, people don't move like this. At least not in anything outside of being told you're going to step like this. We don't react in an offensive or defensive manner anything close to triangle stepping as it gets practiced. If there is any sort of value to be gained from doing this sort of dead pattern exercise, you've probably accomplished it in the span of about 2 minutes. In fact, by the time you finish watching this video, you've probably learned as much as you can about that sort of dead stepping. This is not revolutionary. If at any point in your life you were a kid, you probably played tag. And if you played tag, you used these basic methods of footwork. The difference between your childhood experience and this is that now we're trying to integrate those footwork methods into your fighting method. Basically, these break down into two separate kinds of steps. So, attacking triangle basically is a change in direction, and the defensive triangle is a change in location. Okay, first we're going to look at the attacking triangle, sometimes called the male triangle. You're standing at the base, and your opponent is standing at the vertex. And you're trying to cross the gap between you and him. You can't just step straight forward. Here's where the attacking triangle footwork comes in. You're going to load up. By shifting to one corner, you are bending your leg, loading it up for power, and exploding off of that bent leg. That's how attacking triangles work. The defensive triangle, sometimes also called the female triangle. Again, this time you're standing at the vertex, your opponent's standing at the base, and as they're attacking, you are dodging off of that point that you're standing. Here's a phrase that should hopefully resonate. If you see it fought, you see it taught. The idea being that we can extract lessons from watching sparring or fighting and bring that to our training methods. Conversely, if you see it taught, you should also see it being fought. The idea that if we have a training method, it should relate to our fighting method, and you should see it appear in sparring or fighting. You don't have to do this for very long. This is the introductory phase, and you only really need to do it for the amount of time it takes for your feet to not be confused by it anymore. The next stage is isolate. So you're only going to do the attacking step or the defending step, but you can vary things like the speed you do it, the tempo, or the direction. I recommend 6 directions, left and right, 4 diagonals left and right, back diagonals left and right, for both the attacking step and the defending step. The third stage is integrate, the point at which we are taking our footwork skills and adding in blocks and attacks. If you don't have a training partner handy, I'm going to recommend doing carenza. So you're going to be moving around your space, attacking and defending, and moving in varied directions with varied speed and varied tempo. Launch off. If you do have a training partner handy, here's how you integrate footwork and your blocking and attacking skills. For the attacking step, one partner is going to be loading up and firing a single strike at the other partner using that attacking step to cover the distance. Return to that neutral spot. The same concept goes for the defensive step. One partner is going to be feeding single strikes from a stationary position, and the other person blocks and moves using the defensive step. The last step is improvise, and in this case, we're talking about sparring. Both you and your partner are giving each other random, unrehearsed strikes, forcing the other person to figure out a solution pretty quickly. I can't overemphasize the importance of sparring in terms of martial arts training. As I've said before, if your footwork sucks, everything sucks. And sparring is an excellent way to figure out what parts of your fight game are good and which need improvement. Okay, that's going to wrap things up for today. So you've got your attacking step or loading step, you've got your defensive step or moving step, and I really hope that you take the time to incorporate those into your practice and your training. I'd love to hear about your thoughts in the comments, especially if you do that sort of static triangle stepping like I mentioned at the beginning, and I'd like to hear your thoughts about it. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you two videos. I'm going to leave you this one, and I'm going to leave you this one, and I'll see you next time.